I almost have like the sense, or maybe it's a desire or expectation that like it should get louder or it should be more clarified, or I don't know quite what I'm pointing at here, but like it's not that I lose it exactly, but it like gets lost in the bustle, or it gets
Right. So,
it,
do you want to approach it from here?
sure. Yeah.
So, you can't do anything with, of course, with space. Can't make space more here, or with silence. And you can quiet your own mind. You can relax your own body. You can remove more distractions. So you're not actually doing anything to increase that. You're just creating more space to be aware of it. Doesn't actually change it.
Mhm.
So this is the value of just be quiet, as Papaji loved to say. Ramana, in a thousand ways, said the same thing.
Mhm.
It's having a kind of disposition or an intention.
I don't know. I think my intuition is something like clarifying this just kind of constantly. And by constantly, I don't mean, kind of go be a monk and stare at a blank wall. I mean, in the midst of, you know, dining room table, you know,
Sure.
um, it, that something is going to click. I don't know if that's right, but like that the naturalness kind of, I don't know, that like, it, I don't know. There's not really a separateness, but it just still feels like there's a toggle that maybe doesn't toggle anymore, or it gets clearer or something. I don't know. Like that, it's. I think I'm a bit haunted by something like Sahaja or something like that, or Rigpa. Um,
Right. Haunted by it.
so I think I was trying to understand consciousness, because
Right.
so like the non-separate in broad terms has been around, I mean, at least a decade now, to some degree, where just I have this vague. It's like sometimes I think nothing happened, but then I kind of like can think back, let's say 15 years ago, and it's like, oh yeah, I used to remember I was in a bubble and the rest of the world was out there, and like,
Right.
I'm stuck in this straitjacket being assaulted by
You've
everything
become
around me.
acclimated to the sense of
Right,
non-separateness. And it doesn't mean that it hasn't, to some degree, shifted so that it's less pronounced, but it's still there.
right,
And but you're acclimated to it, right? So
right.
yeah, that's
So
the
so
thing about a change which is registered as a state, which it is because it's something you're noticing. That's always been my issue with the distinction between consciousness and
mhm,
recognizing it and what is whole being realization or second life. Um, Second life is a state change, or you could say a stage development, whereas consciousness really isn't that. I mean, it can be correlated with one because there are moments in life where that's recognized. So that is, listen, and usually those are accompanied with some forms of stage development or state changes too. So I could see why they got mixed up, but Ramana's language, um, as opposed to the waking down language, was so starkly like, no, it's about this, not that. Um, that I always wanted to really be clear about the distinction. Um, but whole being realization is beautiful state change. And the way it's used in Waking Down and in Trillium is really profound because rather than just keeping it with the blissed out connected of being, which would be totally valid in itself, Saniel really emphasized relationship in that context. Okay, you feel non-separate now. Now, how do you be in relationship with others while being in that sense of non-separateness? And what happens then? If you're feeling deeply your feelings and you actually are feeling others as they speak and you feel them in non-separateness, what kind of culture could we build from that? And that's the whole thing about mutuality. And that's, that's a big reason for me why after 20 years, I've been often one of the biggest critics of Trillium and Waking Down. And I'm still, here I am, still involved and still very deeply appreciative, deeply appreciative, both of Thaniel and the whole work from the beginning through all of its different stages, the community, all the people involved. I mean, they're like, in some ways, like family. Sometimes I'm not on great terms with this one or that one. Sometimes I am, and go ups and downs. Um, so I have great uh, thankfulness. Talk about Thanksgiving for all that's happened to me in regards to that, or for so much of it. Many regrets as well, like all kinds of stuff I can be critical of. But um, so that's a profound thing, and that's a gift and great. And yet it is different um, than consciousness itself. It's what all sentience is. All sentient beings, not even all human beings, all sentient beings are already intrinsically that. It's perceptivity. It's the capacity to perceive. That's what consciousness is. It's the it's the it's perceptiveness. Um, it's an adjective that's not attached to a noun, which is a very weird thing. It's not really plausible. Well, it's not plausible except theoretically. You could kind of, oh yeah, okay. But it's conscious, but it's not a thing. It's just the quality of being conscious, but it's not attached to anything. So like, if something's yellow, you can talk about the yellowness of it. But yellowness without being something being yellow is nonsense. It's like an abstraction. Something has to be yellow. You can't have, you can say yellowness is a kind of like, theoretical thing. But in actual reality, no,
So,
yellowness
so
has to
this
rest on something.
see this is the hiccup. It's like I'm trying to clarify it, but then it's like in clarifying it, I'm still trying to stick it in an attachment, right? Just like as in like uh there's like a property or something of the things as opposed to like kind of like we were saying, like an adjective without the noun.
Exactly. A project, exactly. Because this is all language is dualistic, right? It's all based
Mhm.
in dualistic. This is you. I mean, you can use different language and just turn it up on its head in some ways. You can turn it all upside down by just speaking about it very differently. But if you do that, people get confused. That's the problem. I like to do that sometimes, but not very often. I try to stay with consistent language. But you could just as easily say it's mind. It's all
Mhm.
just mind. I mean, as long as you're consistent with it for the time being, it's almost like have to be different books. In this book, you talk about it all as mind. And then you could do that. There's books in Buddhism and Zen, they just call it mind. And that includes thoughts then. It's not, just like mind, but what I mean by mind is empty, blah, blah, blah. No, no, no. It's mind. Let's just go for it that way. It's all mind, including thoughts, anger, feelings, lust, jealousy, fear, all of that. and the capacity of mind to perceive things and all perception. So everything you're seeing and everything you're hearing, because everything you see and hear, you only see and hear through perceptivity, right? Aspect of mind. So there's thoughts and aspect of mind, perceptivity, but include everything now, all sensation, everything. Well, what's doing all that? Mind. Well, okay, this mind that is thinking, hearing, feeling, uh, uh, emoting, and all of that. Where is it? Oh, it's all of those things, right? Right. And now the claim is everything is that. What? Even the objects outside the body? Yes, yes, yes. The mind, the body is only perceived in the mind. It's felt in the mind. It's seen in the mind. It's all being, well, oh, so there's no inside or outside. Not really, no. It's all inside. Everything is inside the mind. Just like when you dream at night. You go to sleep and you have a dream, and there's you in a dream body. You just find yourself in this thing with dream thoughts about a whole different you, really. Maybe some version of you, or maybe not any version of the you that you're in waking, but something, some commonality, a lot of difference. And then you're interacting with other dream characters, and they're all in mind. They're all created by mind. They're all aspects of mind. And the scenery, and you might be driving a car and going to a foreign land, and all kinds of strange things, all kinds of interesting things, feelings, experiences, and all of them are mind. Call it that, mind. Is anything separate from it? No. Is it a thing? No. Is it a feeling? No. Feelings are, or yes, it's all the feelings, but it's not just feelings. It's what's seen too, and what's heard and thought. But if there was no feeling in it at all, would it still be mind? Yeah, it would be. It doesn't need feeling. Okay. If you didn't see anything, would it still be mind? Yeah. If it wasn't thinking anything, yeah. So if you meditated in your dream and got a silent mind, you still be mind. Right? So it's not reducible to any of those things, like in dream. So we just called it mind now. And we said it thinks, it does this, it that. See, it's not, it's getting to it's pointing to something. All of the frameworks or the givens, like I think that's what they call them in the axioms, givens. Like, okay, this is what we're starting out with. These are the rules. Boom, 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 boom. That's just for the sake of being able to present something and teach it. No, it doesn't change. Okay, that's good because you have to have some beginning start. It doesn't change. But if you want to, okay, we're going to start from scratch. Forget the doesn't change thing. It changes all the time. It's mind. It does has all this. That works too. But it's like, can we be consistent about it at least? Can we speak in such a way in which there's not a dichotomy between this and that? As soon as we do that, then emptiness, or you could say not being able to speak of it, it's not located anywhere in particular, but that doesn't mean it's not located everywhere. Its eminence is exactly its transcendence. There's like zero difference, no difference, because it's absolutely nothing, because it's absolutely none of the things. It is therefore every single one of the things. It's not removed, it's just not stuck as being any of the particulars.
Mhm.
And what's the proof for its existence? You can't you can't have coherence without it. It can't be, nothing would cohere anywhere. Like nothing what It's all in this. What else is it in? It's all arising in mind, is it not? Or it's all arising in emptiness, or it's all arising in space, whatever words you want to use.
Anyway, thank you very much.
You're so welcome, brother. You're so welcome. I mean, when it comes down to it, there's really nothing to figure out. All there is to do is to relax into being. Just being at home. All the rest is simply in service to that. All explanations, all answers are just to meet the doubt of the moment, the question of the moment, the agitation of the moment. There's no need to hold a big framework in the mind. There's no need to hold any framework in the mind. Just know you're home.